My grand trip to Greece by Chris Rivers. I've traveled to many places in my life, but my most memorable experience was going to Greece. One of the main reasons I wanted to travel here was my high school philosophy class. We learned about the philosophers and societies that the Greeks had. We went into depth on how their prominent members' teaching in ways affected society today. I've always found it fascinating at how these types of societies were so advanced and progressive. The stories and ideas told about them always intrigued me because they were so intellectual. I often thought, how did they live to compare to us nowadays? Fortunately, my parents took me the summer of my sophomore year in high school. I thought they were joking at first, but they were dead serious. I was honestly in shock when I heard this, but at the same time I was jumping with joy. Now this was finally my chance to see how things were on a completely different continent. The trip to the airport was filled with traffic, but when I arrived, I was ready. Boarding the plane was one of the best feelings. I was so anxious on the plane that I didn't sleep for the grueling 12-hour flight. As soon as the plane was over Greece, I was stunned looking out of the window. I was one of the happiest kids alive when the plane's black wheels screeched on the scorching tarmac. We first stopped in Athens to adventure. I was overwhelmed by the classical architectural structures. They towered over me like I was the size of a man. In contrast to Athens' momentous man-made structures, the natural environment may be even more stunning. The beaches had waters as clear as a summer day's sky. The sapphire gleams of the sun's sizzling rays reflected the breathtaking. The emerald green canopies of the forest provided a great balance of color. The sheer beauty of Greece wasn't the only reason why I wanted to go there. One of the biggest reasons why I wanted to go to Greece was because of the great names that this country produced. From Socrates to Aristotle, so many influential characters have emerged from Greece. While walking to the Acropolis, I had a thought in my head that I would never forget. When I am older, I am going to travel to every country someone influential was raised in. This broad notion made me think about how to better myself with knowledge and exposure. I think to myself every day, how can I learn about other people's culture and better myself from it? I don't know what in Greece sparked this fuse in my developing brain, but to this day, I still hold myself to that thought. I sometimes sit and think that this would be extremely difficult and expensive to do. This often leads me to feeling like I shouldn't go through with it. The challenges and obstacles that face me would often overwhelm me. Thoughts running through my mind. How will I ever achieve this? Is it even possible? However, to combat this, I just think back to the great feeling I had when walking on the same ground as Socrates, Aristotle, Pythagoras, and Zeno once did. The feeling I had in Greece makes me want to travel to other places all over the world to find that feeling again. It was honestly indescribable. Maybe traveling to different places is what gives me this feeling. The fact that you're away from home in a completely different country or continent is what drives me. You often don't realize how different the world around you is since you are so confined in your own community. This then gives me the motivation to continue pursuing my goal, and that I will ultimately achieve it one day. My grand trip to Greece by Chris Rivers.